All right, shalom, and welcome to another Bible study that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in this body of Yeshua. My name is Esaac ben Israel, and I'm the elder priest of the United Congregation of Israel. And I'm joined here with Priest Mikael. Shalom, my brother.
Shalom.
All right, so we are going to get into a few things. We got a few questions, and of course, one big one dealing with what today is supposed to be. So we're going to get into that here a little bit. One of the questions we can get off right away is one says, good day, family. You might have been over this before, and maybe I missed it, but I was wondering if we receive a jury summons, are we able to do it? I think part of the things we have to look at each side of what's happening here. A lot of times we are called into these court proceedings, and we hate it so much that we don't want to be a part of any of it. But you have to ask yourself a question: how are our people getting sentenced? They're getting sentenced, right? But what happens if none of us show up to help on their part? It's already a stacked situation where they're going to call certain people. It's like very few people I know have ever been a part of a grand jury or even a real pivotal case. It's like out of all the people who you know who vote, who have done all of these things, ask how many of them have been like in the cases that you see on TV. Like, okay, did your case take more than one day? Did it do... and we avoid that. But we are the ones that are suffering the most in the court system. And a lot of times you hear situations where people say, well, it was an unfair situation where they had my case placed. And people don't really understand what that means. So if they're going to pull from the community, as they say, and they keep redrawing these district lines, right? So then in the entire county, that entire county may be 80% black, but they redraw these lines and they have the jurors come from the 20% who are all in this tucked off place off to the left of the county. And then those are the people who are deciding the fate for the other 80. Because even when some of us do get the jury summons, we are running like we going to jail. Because we don't want to be inconvenienced. Here it is. We ducking and peeking out the window. Hold on. Bro, it's not a warrant. That's not, they're not trying to lock you up. They're calling to get you to take part of this process, which we claim we want it to be a part. And whether we like it or not, we're part of the process because it's mostly us down there in that place. I don't know if you guys, just a few days ago, can't think of his name. I want to say maybe Wes Howard. Please don't quote me on that. But the politician, Democrat from Maryland, ended up releasing something like 200,000 people who had been arrested for marijuana. And he said, hold on, if we are making billions of dollars off marijuana, why are we still holding these people in jail? And not just jail, some of them on probation, some of them have lost their jobs because they could find a conviction in their past and they released them. He says, why is this happening if this is not even a crime anymore? Why are they still prosecuting? Why are these things still on there? Now, of course, this is a black man. He says within the 3 counties of Baltimore, 80% of all the arrests were all in the black area. So it was disproportionately aimed at us. So what if that one black, now he the only one that has done anything like this? What if he's not there? So sometimes you may get a summons or something. You may get something and you say, man, I don't want to deal with this. But somebody, baby, may be, their life may be depending on, if it's just one person, if it's just one individual. And understand something, when it comes down to us, all Israel are supposed to participate when it comes down to our legal process. We forget when it says that this person is supposed to be stoned, it says the witnesses must be the first to stone him, and then all Israel stone him. So understand, everybody took a part in this justice proceeding. Now we know that there's not much justice in what happens here, but part of why the game has to be played on us is because we accidentally came up on some power when we stayed together and we were able to control our communities. Then there has no choice but to be a representative of that community. So this desegregation part was a game played on us so that it can split or divide our resources, so that all of those individuals won't be located in this one place. So they would keep having representatives. And then you take like this one individual who is the representative there. Imagine if you had 8 more people being representatives in the other districts right beside him, and they were all backing him up. Then that would completely change, the game. So sometimes it's not, what it is that, what the real situation is. It is about the stigma that has been placed on it. Because we know many a times somebody has gotten accused of something, right? Then somehow that black kid, the jail swung open in the breeze in the middle of the night. Somehow the locks get real picky and the night, and then he gets out of there and is hung in front of the jail. Now how the hell he get out that cell? So we have a stigma there so bad we don't want to have no parts of it. But at the end of the day, it ends up doing us harm by not having help and representation for our brothers and sisters who may be in dire need at that moment. Go ahead, Mother, you got something?
I do. I just kind of wanted to amen everything you said. I actually got caught up in a situation like that. It was a malice murder trial, and I tried my best to get out of it, and I was not successful. I sat through it. It was very, very emotional, and actually I wound up being an integral part of a brother they were going to railroad him. They were going to accuse him guilty. They weren't looking at the evidence. They weren't writing anything down. They just came in and they were going to throw their hands up and say guilty. And actually, it was a situation with a truck. They didn't even check the brakes. He kept saying, my brakes failed. Nobody checked them. They did forensic evidence. They did everything but check the brakes. And even the evidence pointed to what he said, but he was being accused of intentionally murdering this person. And it was so emotional. But to make the long story short, when I told Elder Yaakov, what had happened, he said, Yahweh sent you to free that man. I had never given that one bit of thought until he said it. I worked like I could to get out of that.
Yep.
And so you're absolutely right. We need somebody to represent our people to get us free from these things that they would railroad us for.
And we don't even consider that, your one voice could be what Yahweh is putting in that circle to say, all right, this kid's life is gone if you don't show up. I mean, absolutely done. And because we don't show up, we don't know the difference. We don't know what happened. We don't know what would have happened. So we don't even know to feel sad. We don't know to feel anything. But I tell you what, when it's our kid that's sitting there, I guarantee you, we will try to look in the eyes of every juror sitting over there. I guarantee you. So I think sometimes the real answer to a question is to rearrange the question. You're here. This is you asking the question. Here is the dilemma. Turn it this way. Let's put yourself on the other side and put that summons on the side of somebody who might actually ask a question and say, hey, when I got railroaded by them red dogs, it was one cop. It was 6 or 7 cops out there. Only one of them said, hey, didn't we already frisk him? So if we already frisked him, how we find 47 sacks of crack cocaine? One guy asked that question. But the other ones were set. We finna set this dude up. Because they figured, I was on the west side. All the people on the west side over there in those streets, they ain't got no money. So they're not going to be able to get an attorney. But I didn't live over there. I was just over there. So, but even though that one guy asked the question, he looked. And it made me pause and look at the officer. But those other 6, they was all red dog. The one who asked the question was not. He was a regular Atlanta police officer. He was not with their group. So just having somebody outside of the so-called group that they're dealing with may be your saving grace. The next question I want to get to, it says that in the Bible, it says that 2/3 of the world's population will perish and that men will want death, but death will flee them. In an interview I watched, journalists also said that experts said 2/3 of the world population will perish and the survivors will want to die. It says, my question is nuclear war hinted in the scriptures? Let's go to Zechariah chapter 13. Zechariah chapter 13, and let's start that at verse 1.
In that day there shall be a fountain open to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanness. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh of hosts, said Yahweh of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall no more be remembered. And also I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirits to pass out of the land. And it shall come to pass that when any shall yet prophesy, then his father and his mother that begat him shall say unto him, you shall not live, for you speak lies in the name of Yahweh. And his father and his mother that begat him shall thrust him through when he prophesies. And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed, every one of his vision, when he had prophesied. Neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive. But he shall say, I am no prophet, I am a husbandman. For a man taught me to keep cattle from my youth. And one shall say unto him, what are these wounds in your hands? Then he shall answer, those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends.
Right. Now you have a lot of old covenant, brothers who don't believe in the Mashiach. So it's funny that they only believe in certain things, but here it is, as we get to some of those writings in the Old Testament, they won't deal with that. They'll go to the same ones saying that there's none other beside me. They'll do these things, but when we have point blank situations that don't present themselves until later, they don't seem to want to debate those instances. Go ahead.
Verse 7, awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, said Yahweh of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn my hand upon the little ones.
Right, and we have seen this happen on a personal level and then on a worldwide level. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, that in all the land, said Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but a third shall be left therein.
Now, part of the reason you have a lot of debate and a lot of people say, you know what, I don't believe that. I remember my elder teaching this, and people, you know, there were certain people who were just vehemently against hearing anything like that. And it took me a minute to realize what it was. You know, it was these God is love people. This bothers God is love people. See, when you start going through stuff like that, it goes against the teenage and baby Jesus story. See, some of them don't like grown Jesus. You know, they don't like young man Jesus. They only deal with teenage and baby Jesus. Them the ones that they like right there, because those are non-threatening. They don't like anything. They don't like turn over the table. You know, they don't like that one. All right, they need the baby. So he's in their eyes, he's forever a baby in a manger. He at 30 years old, he's still swaddled and in a manger. Hold on, what? So this is the place where we're gonna stay. So since we are given the God is love thing, when you start talking about judgment on earth, when you start talking about setting forth righteousness and the things that has to happen for that, okay, blood must be shed to make atonement for sin. The only thing that can cleanse a defiled land is the blood of him who defiled it. So then we have to take a pause. Look out on the earth and find out who defiled it. All right, well then their offspring and their children, their blood gonna have to be shed to make an atonement for it. Well then those are the first people that got to tell you God is love. Wait a minute, why are you going so hard on the God is love? Because you worried about the atonement that's going to have to be made to make the earth righteous again. And so they won't even deal with the earth being made righteous. This is why you got the zip tang and go off in heaven, so that way you have a paradise instead of doing what Yahweh said, no, you're going to clean up the one I gave you. I already gave you. The Garden of Eden was on earth. It wasn't in heaven. Mm-hmm. If he gave you a paradise, hold on. I want you to think about something. If you could reach your hand in the ground, pull out whatever you wanted. I don't know no other paradise like that. He already gave us one. So then we messed that one up, and you think he gonna give you a better paradise than the one he gave you? You know, he would be saying to himself, I made a mistake. If he gives you a better one than this one, without making you clean up this one, he's then saying that I made a mistake. Go ahead, priest, you got something?
Yeah, Elder, and please correct me if I'm wrong. We're talking about the land of Israel at this part, right? Mm-hmm. And the person's question is of the world. Mm-hmm. When we see the 2/3 being cut off, that's the children of Israel, not the world.
Well, understand, they got some judgment that they got to pay for too, because Israel didn't just get themselves in all of these things. And right here, people like to separate themselves from the children of Israel whenever there's judgment. But whenever there's something good to behold, everybody want to be Israel at that point. But see, you got to understand how Yahweh operate now. Hold on. What's the punishment for a lie? Oh, okay, so your intentions. Now, wait a minute. The world has came and pretended to be Israel. Okay, hold on. So if he punished them and you were on the good side saying that you're going to receive all their stuff, what you just signed up for? What you think you just signed up for?
Not to mention those who got circumcised when they didn't need to.
There you go. You just signed yourself up. You jump in. How many times you went to a store, right? And there's lines there, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't ask nobody nothing, but because the line looked like, damn it, it looked like you in the right one. So you stand in this line, bro. You done been in this line 15 minutes, bro. You just standing and you standing, and then somebody say something. Hey, if you're here for returns, That's register number 2. Ain't nobody over there.
Register 2, how long it's been open?
But see, no, it was open the whole time. We don't come ask no questions. We came and we look, we examine, and without asking any questions, we jump in what we think is the right line. And then that's not the right line. But we have not made ourselves uncomfortable. Excuse me. Where is the line for the returns? Now you found out you done stood there 15, 20 minutes. Ain't nobody at that. Nobody. And that person just sitting there. Mana, do, 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 do. Mana. They wait. Ain't nobody coming to my register, boss. They're free money. Go ahead, Pre.
I just watched a thing of a social experiment that we all have the herd mentality, where a lady walks into a medical office and all the people are sitting down. Then a buzzer goes off. Everybody stood up. So the first 2 times she's looking at them like, what are they doing? By the 3rd time, she has joined in.
Right.
Because you don't want to be left out.
She don't even know what she's standing up for. Hey, that's us. We'll come in, we'll see some things, and we'll automatically, take part in something that we don't understand. And what's interesting is when it comes down to this word, man, this is the first thing that I really have understood in my life. All the other things that were given to me, in my upbringing. Nobody explained an Easter egg hunt other than we're going to hide the eggs. Now go get them. That's it.
Right.
Nobody told me, okay, what does the egg represent? Even if you go to the You Wish, they at least have some reasons for their dogma. They have some reasons, we eat this for this, or we do that for that. Man, Christians don't explain nothing. They turn you around 3 times and say, go get the egg. You did just picking up eggs. Hey, you like eggs? You don't know. Nobody explains any of that. Like, what does the egg and the bunny have to do with Easter? Nobody. None of those people know it. They done kept it for 20 years straight. None of them know it. And I realized that my folk didn't know when I asked them. And their answer was, shut up and go get them eggs. But there was a strange pause first. Like, who did Knuckle come in and ask me? Go get the eggs, boy. Afterwards, they were probably like, what the hell does it got to do with it? I don't know. They didn't know. But see, that's that thing. We don't ask things that are readily accepted by the masses. So when we start getting these parts of truth here, we start asking our own questions, and then that bothers people. That gets people, gets under people's skin that you're starting to question them on some things that they have always accepted. Let's go to chapter 14. Keep reading here. Zechariah 14 and 1.
Behold, the day of Yahweh comes, and your spoil shall be divided in the midst of you. For I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the house rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
Now, it's very interesting that as we talk about all of these aspects of dealing with the nation of Israel, we keep reading about captivity. We go in the beginning of this book, we go in the Torah, we're talking about captivity. Yet, the inhabitants of the land have no connection to any captivity. Even though people are saying that they come from here, they come from there. But where is your captivity? Where is the captivity that is constantly spoken of in this book? Go ahead.
Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle.
Now, there's an enormous amount of time in between verse 2 and verse 3. Go ahead.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east.
Now, who feet? Is Yahweh feet coming? Who feet? Who feet them here? Who feet? Who feeding them? Now, and what those feet look like? Because see, my book said those feet gonna look like they burned in a furnace. That's what I read about the feet. Now, it says, hey, you men of Galilee, why stand you gazing up into heaven? That same Yahshua who you've seen, wait a minute, his feet, they was on the Mount of Olives. Wait a minute. So we start talking about all of this happening in Jerusalem, and now we're talking about the return of the Messiah. So how are we having all of these events and Yahshua has not showed up on the scene whatsoever? Keep reading.
And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and towards the west, and there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove towards the north, and half of it towards the south. And you shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Esau. Yeah, you shall flee, like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah the king of Yehudah. And Yahweh my Elohim shall come, and all the saints with you. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to Yahweh, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at eventime it shall be light.
Right. This is going to be a confusing day. We know that even when they have their eclipses, hey man, some strange things going to happen right in the eclipse. If you standing outside and that strange part of, you can't figure out is it night or day. Now you talking about that staying there. That only happened for a little minute and it throw you off on an eclipse. Imagine that whole thing just staying there. Go ahead.
And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them towards the former sea, and half of them towards the hinder sea. In the summer and in the winter shall it be. And Yahweh shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one, Yahweh, and his name one. And the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Ramah, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place.
Right. A city that's set on a hill cannot be hid. So everything else going to have to go low. In other words, every other piece of land going to have to bow down to the holy place. So it's going to be the highest place in the land. You can't help but see it because it's going to be higher than everything else. Go ahead.
From Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananel unto the king's wine presses. And the men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
Now, the question was, when it talks about certain things, was it going to be nuclear warfare? Well, hold on. When they do that nuclear weapons, understand, they putting together Yahweh's elements, and then they making something, and then we say, oh my God, I discovered the atomic bomb. I discovered, wait a minute, but Yahweh already got this stuff, right? This already his stuff, right?
Right.
So you put a few ingredients together, right? And you found something, so you think you made it. You have to ask yourself, what have we not found that he already made? So while they doing all of these things, understand now, this is something that he's going to do. Now, is Yahweh going to throw out an atomic bomb out the sky? Keep reading.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
Now, these are the people who fight against Jerusalem. Now, keep going.
And their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
Wait a minute. Now, that sounds awfully nuclear. Go ahead.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
Uh-huh.
And it shall come to pass.
Now, wait a minute. Now, that sounds nuclear. But the problem is, it's supposed to be the people who fought against Jerusalem. How your tongue come out, but the dude beside you didn't? How the eyeballs come out of the socket for the one on the left, but not the one on the right. See, nuclear does not have any distinction. Okay? When it go, everybody's standing there away from him. But when it's a destroying angel, he has the right to look at who has that mark of Yahweh on them, and he passes over them, and he slays all of them who do not have that mark. A nuclear weapon don't discriminate. They don't pick one and then bypass the other, but an angel does. See, here comes the time when I guarantee you we ain't gonna want to look like everybody else. See, we spend most of our time trying to fit in. We spend most of our time trying to look like the heathen. I'm telling you, when that angel get ready to destroy, we gonna be singing psalms, everything. I ain't like them. We gonna make up our own songs. I ain't like them. Please don't get me confused with them. Folks be like, man, I ain't no way I wear no turban. Folks gonna have 8 turbans on. What you doing all them turbans on, bro? I'll make sure they don't think that I'm one of them. Oh, okay. Right. You're going to want to make sure that angel know you when it come down to that. Go ahead.
Verse 13, and it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahweh shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And Yehudah also shall fight at Jerusalem. And the wealth of all the heathens round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance.
Right. Yahweh has to compensate Israel for all of the loss that we have been made to endure. See, he don't have to pay the nations. They've been collecting things all along. Mm-hmm. See? Now, what Yahweh does is, and if you haven't figured out how he operates, he pays you on the back end. Out of all the labor that the children of Israel have done, in Egypt freely, he don't tell them, he didn't give them no reparations until they were trying to get out. All right, now go borrow of these people. We know we ain't gonna never see these people. The last time we gonna see them. So this is a different kind of borrow. This is a grant. This ain't a loan. But he knows when to do that. So why would he have to give the nations, and they've been getting money over money over money? No. He don't need to give them nothing. He need to give the people something who have been oppressed. Go ahead.
And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents, as the plague. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
Wait a minute. So all those people that the Christian fellowship, all of them gonna have to keep a old covenant holy day if they left. Now the key part is this. Now it says, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left. Let me tell you something. Everyone that is left, that don't sound like God is love. That don't sound like he coming back with roses and chocolates. When it says everyone that is left, we got a problem. We're talking about some great destruction, what's left over. Mm-hmm. See? So, and when it's left over, it's going to learn, oh, no. I seen what he did to such and such. Oh, I ain't playing that right there. See? So that's going to make a statement when you talk about what's left over. And now they're going to give Israel the honor that they are supposed to give Israel. Keep going.
And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all these families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. Mm-hmm. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, and come not that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So you don't come to keep the Feast of Tabernacles first you're not going to have any rain. After that, we're talking about the plague come. Now, you know, men think they got it made. They got cloud making machines now. They said, hey, we can make rain. Just a couple days ago, it was 95 degrees. They went to spraying stuff, it dropped down to 85. But I tell you one thing, it was so dog earlier today, I was trying to figure out, hey man, what the hell is this? Is this the day that it ain't clear nor dog? What is it? That's all that damn spraying they're doing. You couldn't even find the sun. It was layers of spray. Why? Because the heat is seriously bothering some people more than others. But that sun is seriously bothering people. You don't spend billions of dollars trying to hide the sun if it's not bothering you. Okay? So there's a lot of things that are taking place that people not really telling us everything about it. I want to go into this other part here. It says, dear other priests, my question is, if Yeshua was hanged on a tree, how then is he nailed to the cross? It says they like to tell us that he died on the cross, but that does not seem, that's far from the truth. If we have to talk about the cross, that is one of the main graven images that he talked about in the Bible. And if we look into it, the cross is never in the Bible to begin with. It says they were added by the pagan god in the Talmud. The cross is a symbol of the first letter of his name, T. Now, if we look at the history during those times, we would know that if you are worthy of death, you have to be hanged. It was the law. So let's first go to that. It's a lot that's in there. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21. And the one part, if you are worthy of death, you have to be hanged. It did not say that you had to be hanged. All right, so let's slow that part down. And we're going to go over that. Deuteronomy 21, and I want you to read verses 22 and 23.
And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death.
That means they have examined him. They have seen that he is guilty. They have put forth that he is going to be put to death. Go ahead.
And you hang him on a tree.
And that was the sentence that they gave him. It doesn't mean that he has to be hung on a tree. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's not what that means. Because clearly he could have been stoned to death. Mm-hmm. Yahweh's law was carved in stone. You broke the law, you broke that piece of stone. That piece of stone that you broke was then hurled at you. Okay? So it does not have to be on that. But let's keep going.
His body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but you shall in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of Elohim.
Now we're getting to something. Okay, he that is hanged is accursed of Elohim. So there was a reason why they particularly wanted to hang us. You have to ask yourself, for all these other people who are claiming that they are Israel, how many of them have you seen hanged? Just a question. Just question. To this day, we still find people hung, and they try to say, oh, the person committed suicide. You mean then he climbed up that tree on his own and hung himself? There were things that happened in parks around here. It showed up in the news for about 16 and a half seconds. They wouldn't talk about it no more because they worried about how the people were going to react. Hey, man, hold on, man. That dude didn't hang himself. Somebody hung that man. So there's a reason why they particularly want to do hanging for certain individuals. Okay? So certain individuals, this is going to be the way that they're going to punish them. Go ahead.
That your land be not defiled, which Yahweh your Elohim gives you for an inheritance.
Now, this is where things get interesting. So the Euro-Gentiles definitely wanted to go about to hang us, and they also had a real thing about leaving us on the trees that they hung us on. Now, when you leave this person who is accursed, understand what happens, and we don't really consider. All right, so you hang the individual. Whether the individual was guilty or not, you hung him. That individual is now cursed because of the hanging. If you leave him there, the land that he's on, now the curse transfers from him to the land. I don't think the people who were displaying hanging understood what they were doing to their land, because the curse didn't present itself right away. No, the curse is starting to present itself in the land now. But you got to understand how much of that has been collected and is mounting up all of the curses of allowing them people to stand there, because they could have easily hung those people and pulled those people down and went on about their business. But wanting to make a display, they hung those people, let their corpses rot on the tree, let the birds come and pick at their flesh, not understanding that they were also cursing their great land. If they would have understood that, they would have taken those people down. But they were having too much fun to read the next line. Because understand, one of the biggest pictures that we see all the time about the hanging, all you got to do is pay attention. Every one of the Gentiles are immaculately dressed. That was Sunday church. They went to Sunday church, came out of Sunday church, and hung these individuals right there. Kids there, they're eating, they're having a good time, they're taking pictures under the hanging body. Now, the only black people in that picture was the ones hanging from the tree. So understand something, we didn't take that picture. Somebody else took that picture. So the evidence from that did not get out because of us. The evidence of that got out because of one of the individuals there who passed those pictures down among their kinfolk. That's how, this information get out, because we were definitely not in a position of taking any pictures and preserving them. But Yahweh knows what to do when it comes down to that. Let's go to Acts chapter 5, because I want to read something else there.
Real quick, bro. Right here in verse 23, it's crazy because it says, his body shall not remain upon the tree all night, but you shall anywise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed, right? That people be so busy trying to curse you that they curse themselves. They missed the next line.
I'm telling you, they were too busy partying, they couldn't read the last line. Mm-hmm. They were passing gifts and eating their sandwiches. Mm-hmm. They didn't even read the next line. And I'm saying something. You have to look at the irony of what Yahweh does. The most iconic picture that we have of that, they have just left church. Okay, the line where it says that they are cursing themselves is in the book that most of them have in their hand or just put down to tie this man up. And the very next line from where this is says, all right, you're going to curse your land if you do this. And they had a habit of doing this. So this is why it's no strange thing of what happened to the Messiah. It's no strange thing that they wanted to hang them up on planks of wood. This is their way. Acts chapter 5. Let's see. Start at verse 25.
Then came one and told them, saying, Behold, the men whom you put in prison are standing in the temple and teaching the people. Then went the captain with the officers and brought them without violence, for they feared the people, lest they should have been stoned. And when they had brought them, they set them before the council. And the high priest asked them, saying, Did not we straitly command you that you should not teach in this name?
Right. The same thing that they told us when we started this. See, we could have got a business loan if we decided to use the name Jesus. We could have been had us a place. We'd had us a nice edifice. All we had to do was use the name of Jesus. You go to the bank and just say it. Just Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Every time you say it, money just keep going to zeros, just keep jumping on the paper. None of these people would say Yahshua. They act like we were some cult leaders. They act like all of these things. Now go back and look at all of these televangelists and see how many times now everybody's saying Yahshua and Yahweh. Hold on. 20 years ago, y'all said we were strange people. How all of a sudden your PhD having pastor all of a sudden learned the name of Yahweh? Did he go back to school? He been out of school 15 years. How did he all of a sudden learn the name of Yahweh? How did they all of a sudden learn the name of Yahshua? They always knew. But because they could not persuade us to step off of it, now they stepping on it. Go ahead.
And behold, you have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine and intended to bring this man's blood upon us. Then Cephas and the other apostles answered and said, We ought to obey Elohim rather than men. The Elohim of our fathers raised up Yahshua.
Now, that's what you got to read to all them people who start telling you you need to obey the laws of the land that it go well with you. All right, tell them. Go tell them. So that's what people do whenever they get to a part of the culture that they don't like. And that the powers that be don't agree with, they throw, you should obey the laws of the land. Tell them. They said, did not we straightway tell you not to teach in this name? Yeah, but we're not going to listen to you. We're going to listen to our God. I don't care if that's illegal. Go ahead.
Whom you slew and hang on the tree. Him has Elohim exalted with his right hand to be a prince and savior.
Now, this is the part where it's like, whom you slew and hanged on a tree. We know that this was their method of punishment. Now, a lot of times we hear the hanged on a tree. We don't know how they hung them on that tree, though. We keep thinking a lot of times we know exactly how they did certain things. You can know one aspect of something, but still not know exactly what that was in the way that they did it. All right, so let's not put too much into that part. We know the cross is their symbol. We know that that's a symbol of death. We know what that is. There's a reason why you find it in the cemetery. It's there for a reason. But they are never going to deal with this part about the hanging, because as we start putting all of these things together, we actually end up with more connection between us and the ancient Israelites than anybody else in this world and Israel. Now we get to this Juneteenth. I want you to read this thing here, what the History Channel says about Juneteenth.
What is Juneteenth? Juneteenth commemorates an effective end of slavery in the United States. Juneteenth, short for June 19th, marks the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state and ensure that all enslaved people be freed.
Now, why they got to go down there? Why just Texas? Why they ain't have to go to the other place? Keep going.
The troops' arrival came a full 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Wait a minute. 2.5 years later? 2.5 years later? They're like, we free. When?
2.5
2.5 years ago? Go ahead.
Juneteenth honors the end of slavery in the United States and is considered the longest running African American holiday. On June 17, 2021, it officially became a federal holiday. Juneteenth 2024 will occur on Wednesday, June 19th. Confederate General Robert E. Lee
My hero.
had surrendered.
I don't know why anybody why don't any of the Hebrew Israelites have any Robert E. Lee shirts? Why don't we get a chance to they make them make America great again things and black folk be walking around? Why can't I have me a Robert E. Lee? He's my hero. They wouldn't have lost if it wasn't for him. I really appreciate his contributions. Keep reading.
Confederate General Robert E. Lee had surrendered at
Appomattox. Now, ask me how I say that. Going to school, every last one of the streets, walking to my elementary school, all had these names. If you go down to the zoo, Atlanta Zoo, all of them got these names. So we walking around these streets, all of them named after Confederate. Go ahead.
Appomattox Courthouse 2 months earlier in Virginia, but slavery had remained relatively unaffected in Texas until
Texas, no, they ain't free down here. Go ahead.
until U.S. General Gordon Granger stood on the Texas soil and read General's Orders Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. The Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation issued by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863 had established that all enslaved people in Confederate states in rebellion against the Union shall be thenceforward and forever free.
Right. But we got Juneteenth. Go ahead.
Lincoln's
Not Juneteenth. Juneteenth. Go ahead.
Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, but in reality, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't instantly free any enslaved people. The proclamation only applied to places under Confederate control and not to slaves holding border states to rebel areas already under Union control. However, as Northern troops advanced into the Confederate South, many enslaved peoples fled behind Union lines. Juneteenth and slavery in Texas. In Texas, slavery had continued as the state experienced no large-scale fighting or significant presence of Union troops. Many enslavers from outside the Lone Star State had moved there, and they reviewed it as a safe haven for slavery.
So they said that this was a safe place for their business practices. So when we look at some of this, we have to start connecting the redemption of the children of Israel and all of these events. So here it is that we have a holiday, and some people didn't have to go to work today. You know, it was a holiday for some people. And the holiday is basically them tricking us and telling us that we weren't free.
Another April Fool's?
April Fool. But it's June Fool.
June Fool.
It's June Fool. It's Juneteenth Fool. Juneteenth Fool. So we have a holiday celebrating that we were 2.5 years behind finding out that it wasn't no more slavery. But here's the problem. Why is something about slavery not connected to the children of Israel who say they're Israel, and this is how Yahweh punishes his people? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 5. Jeremiah chapter 5, and I want you to start at verse 14.
Wherefore thus says Yahweh of hosts, Yahweh Elohim of hosts, because you speak this word, behold, I will make my words in your mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them.
Right. So then when Yahweh chooses a servant and he puts that word in that servant's mouth, that servant is not going to be the most liked individual around. We keep thinking the opposite. We'll talk about how many people love our pastor, how many people such and such. Let me tell you something. If that person speaking the word of Yahweh, it's going to be like, how man, I can't stand him. Every time I turn around, he never says anything nice concerning me. Go ahead.
Lo, I will bring a nation upon you from far, O house of Israel, said Yahweh. It is a mighty nation. It is an ancient nation, a nation whose language you know not, neither understand what they say.
Now, if you then are invaded by these nations whom you don't know the words that they say, when you then become captive and your children are born and spread out, how do you still speak the native language? If your kid is born into slavery, separated from their parents, how do they still know a native language? Keep reading.
Their quiver is an open sepulchre. They are all mighty men. They shall eat up your harvest and your bread, which your sons and your daughters shall eat. They shall eat up your flocks and your herds. They shall eat up your vines and your fig trees. They shall impoverish your fenced cities, wherein you trusted with the sword. Nevertheless, in those days, said Yahweh, I will not make a full end of you. And it shall come to pass, when you shall say, wherefore does Yahweh our Elohim all these things unto us?
Wait a minute. Have we not asked that question at some? Why God had to make us slaves? Mm-hmm. Have we not asked that question at some point? And nobody was ever able to give us an answer. At some point, you asked your parents didn't know. Well, baby, so they give you some plant early for good corn answer. Just hold true to God and things will work out. They didn't have no answer for us. Go ahead.
Then shall you answer them, like as you have forsaken me, and serve strange gods in your land.
So since you serve strange gods in your land, go ahead.
So shall you serve strangers in a land that is not yours.
Wait a minute. If you gonna serve strangers in a land that's not yours, then I'm going to make you slaves in a different nation unlike your own. Wait a minute. Why don't we have that connection? Why is there not a Juneteenth for the people who claim to be Israel? Because this is Jeremiah. So anybody who wants to try to talk about what happened in Egypt, hey man, we're talking long past that. He's talking about a captivity long past Egypt. So anybody if that's the only captivity that you can claim, then this can't be you. Because he's clearly saying at this point that he's going to do it. It ain't done. He's going to do it. So then why don't we have a Juneteenth Israel?
They got a Juneteenth Israel, bro.
Where is that?
They got colors and all that other stuff right there in the land. They do it in June. They got the pride thing.
Hey, bro, that's another teenth. That's a different teenth. That's a different teenth, bro. That's a different teenth, bro. That's something. I can't say the first part of that teenth. That's a different teenth. Cause this here don't add up. If he's saying this during the time of Jeremiah, then we should have a separate. Cause understand, at this point, you have people that want to have everything separate. Racism have to be separate. They can't have racism for everybody else. Where is the separate Juneteenth? Where is it? Because he's specifically talking about serving strangers, not them going and living in another land. If you have a passport, this ain't you. Go ahead.
Declare this in the house of Jacob, and publish it in Yehuda, saying, Hear now this, O foolish people, and without understanding, which have eyes and see not, which have ears and hear not. Fear you not me, says Yahweh? Will you not tremble at my presence? Which have placed the sand for the bounds of the sea by a perpetual decree, that it cannot pass it, and though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet they cannot prevail. Though they roar, yet can they not pass over it.
All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. The part of the book that everybody want to debunk. See, we have to ask ourselves, why are we the only people who have a Juneteenth? But we are the people that nobody wants to connect to being Israel. Yet he clearly says that how I punish my people, you were created to be a servant. Why do you think these people went all the way across the water to go and get some people as servants? You realize how many other places they could have stopped? And understand, when you're dealing with business people, the less you have to put into the travel, the more money you got left over. Why make this travel all the way across the seas? What specific people are you looking for? You're looking for these people who were born to be servants but have lost the land where they're supposed to serve. Go ahead. Deuteronomy 28, start at 15.
But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim.
And honestly, we're so busy hearing people talking about, oh, how blessed these people are, how blessed you are. And we call money blessing. So anytime we see somebody with money, we say those people are blessed. But what we need to look at, we don't need to even discuss the blessings of Israel. What we need to discuss is the curses. Why? Because we know for a fact Israel didn't listen. Whoever people say Israel is, let's say it could be anybody. Let's say it's some short green people or somewhere. All right, let's just say these short green people is Israel. We know that those people did not obey. So ain't no need of us reading 1 through 14. We can start this right at 15 because whoever Israel is, they didn't obey. So now let's listen to the description of whoever Israel is. Go ahead.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you.
Now, because these people then know that we are in the middle of a curse, then they know to hang us, saying that we are cursed people, but didn't read enough to know that they wasn't supposed to leave us there all day. Go ahead.
Cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the field.
This is a lot of curses placed on a holy people. And this is why. Now, if a person says this in the wrong way, do that person get then labeled as anti-Semitic? This is a lot of cursed. I mean, just look, the subtitle here, the heading says curses for disobedience. Now then, count mentally how many times you're about to hear curse. But it's interesting that when you talk about the people, the only thing that you get to talk about is blessing. But I want you to listen to how many times curses go. Go ahead.
Cursed shall be your basket and your store. Cursed shall be the fruit of your body and the fruit of your land, the increase of your kind and the flocks of your sheep.
Right, curse be all that. Right. It was so much stuff that it didn't want to keep saying curse. Go ahead.
Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. Yahweh shall send upon you cursings, vexation, and rebuke, in all that you set your hand unto for it to do, until you be destroyed, until you perish quickly, because of the wickedness of your doings, whereby you have forsaken me.
Right, our most wicked deed, coming away from the culture that Yahweh had given us and grabbing a hold of somebody else's culture. He was wicked. He said it's absolutely wicked. Go ahead, preach. You got something?
Yeah. You know, when you look at the whole setup of the children of Israel, before even becoming a nation, we were already in a mindset of servitude because we were slaves onto the Egyptians. And even throughout all the murmuring after leaving, we kept desiring to go back to that. And even in modern day, we still are saying, oh, we were once Egyptians. So even in this mindset, we still have that mindset of going back into Egypt.
You know what? When you deal with this, you have to wonder if Yahweh was saying, all right, I'm picking me a people who are going to be my servants. You have to wonder if he, went on and that Egypt was our training ground. I'm gonna show you, what being a servant to man is like. Now I'm gonna release you from that. Now, all right. Now understand you on bond. See, a lot of times, sometimes we don't understand when we get out on bail. We don't understand. Anything. You go back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you might get the original time. See, we didn't get that. You know what I'm saying? We love Tupac, but we didn't understand. Out on bail, we didn't understand what that meant. At any time you do something wrong, you go 26 and a 25, you going back. We didn't get that he had already got us out of captivity. All right, now you're being trained to be a servant. Now, but you're not going to have to deal with none of the harsh parts of being a servant. I'm going to make you my servant. We didn't understand we was out on bail. We got happy. See, we got happy. When you get out there and you get that free air, and then you realize, man, I ain't got to eat like when the bell rang. You realize you can eat whenever you want. Oh, man, I'm free. Uh-oh. Now, we kind of got beside ourselves. But then he pulled back those bail pampers. He revoked our bond. Now, you was already a servant. He don't have to make you back a servant. He got you as a servant. You was a servant before he got you. He saved you from that. So when we acted up, he just revoked the bail. Yeah, call in the bail. Go get the bomb and tell him revoke it. Now you got to go back until he decides to reinstate the bond. Go ahead.
Yahweh shall make the pestilence cleave unto you, until he have consumed you from off the land, whether you go to possess it. Yahweh shall smite you with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue you until you perish. And your heaven that is over your head shall be brass, and the earth that is under you shall be iron. Yahweh shall make the rain of your land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon you until you be destroyed.
Now, in other words, I'm going to make you work harder than anybody else. Pay attention to the jobs that we have. Yeah, we may make some money, but I guarantee you the hardest jobs, look at who doing them. Look at who doing them. Even in the prison. There's some people who get seriously hurt because they was doing a job in the prison that was life-threatening jobs. But because they wanted to get outside, they signed up. Go ahead.
Yahweh shall cause you to be smitten before your enemies. You shall go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
So wait. So the children of Israel are going to be spread all over the earth. So how did we come to have a people of Israel who all came out of one country? We have the Torah. This is the Torah. People say that this is Yahweh's holy book. Hold on. Israel was going to be removed and spread into all the kingdoms. How did we get entire Israel out of one country? Go ahead.
And your carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the earth.
Wait a minute. Mm-hmm. Now, wait a minute. He's talking about curses here. Cursed is a man that hangs on a tree And Yahweh said, wait. I'm going to tell you the kind of people that you're going to be under. When they hang you, they ain't going to bring you down. So if your carcass is going to be meat for the fowls, they purposely leave you there and let the birds pick at your flesh. Here is that strange fruit that hang from trees that Billie Holiday sung about. Here it is. You are that. Go ahead.
And it's of the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Yahweh will smite you with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof you cannot be healed. And Yahweh shall smite you with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4. It's so much in there, and the bottom line is there's no other nation that can connect themselves to that. Just dealing with the children of Israel being scattered to all the kingdoms of the earth. And not scattered, they didn't scatter themselves. So if anybody moved themselves, you can't say you scattered. Well, you know, we migrated here. No, man. Come on. No. You got a passport. People who were scattered don't have a passport. So there's a difference between the people who were cargo and the people who were passengers. See, passengers have passports. Cargo has a shipping label. See, we had one manifest, and it had all us on it. When you're a passenger, each one of y'all got a little book, and they put a little stamp on each one of y'all pretty little books. Cargo, there's not a separate piece of paper for each cargo. There's one manifest. That's the difference. Go ahead. I want you to start at 28. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 28. You know what? Start at 26. Deuteronomy 4 and verse 26.
I will call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto you go over Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations.
Here we go.
And you shall be left few in numbers among
Wait a minute. Hold on. Here we go. He already told us what he was going to do. So wait a minute. Did Yahweh lie or is somebody else lying? How do you get an entire nation of Israel coming out of one country? And he keeps saying, I am going to spread you out. Now listen, there's something else that you have to hear. Verse 27, and Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen. Wait a minute. The number of children of Israel is as the sand of the sea. So how are you left few in number? Because he's not going to let enough of us go to a place to take it over. In other words, you're going to be a minority. Their own words testify to who we are. We don't have to make up anything. They testify to who we are. He says, I'm going over and over. Let everything be established by two witnesses. All right. We just read this by two different individuals. Go ahead.
And you shall be left few in numbers among the heathen, whither Yahweh shall lead you. And there shall you serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone.
Wait a minute. So the true children of Israel were not going to know that they were Israelites. The true children of Israel were going to be raised as Christians and Muslims. That's what the wood and stone. The wood is that cross. The stone is the holy site of the Muslims. So you're talking about what two things have our people the most? Christianity and Islam. Here it is right here. Wood and stone. He already told us our path. Yet we are being told that somehow throughout everything, some people maintain their language and maintain their culture. That means Yahweh got to be lying. How you maintain that? It was miraculous that you maintain that. Only problem is Yahweh said we wouldn't. So if somebody's saying that this nation has, somebody got to be lying. Now it's either Yahweh lying or they lying. Somebody lying, because both of these can't be true. Go ahead.
Which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But if from thence you shall seek Yahweh, your Elohim, you shall find him.
Wait a minute. So now, no matter where we are, all right, because you have these people that say, you know, we don't have to keep the Sabbath. You know, the Sabbath was given in our land. You know what I'm saying? So if we're not in our land per se, then we don't have to worry about the Sabbath. Wait a minute. Let me tell you why do people want to make sure that we don't learn anything. But if from thence you seek Yahweh, your Elohim. Wait a minute. How you going to seek him? If you're going to seek him with all your heart, how you going to seek him with all your heart and not keep the Sabbath? So then it is in their best interest then, once somebody has already squatted in your land and pretended to be you, it's one thing to squat in your land. When somebody squats in your house, they say, I own the house. All right? You were gone, they squatted in the house, they said the house is theirs. All right, that's disrespectful. Was really disrespectful, and is your name James Johnson? And then the squatter said, no, I'm James Johnson. No, the hell you ain't. Now, it's bad enough you done took my house, but damn it, I can't just stand here and let you take my name too. You gonna take my existence and my house? Now we're getting disrespectful. That's where we at right here. Okay? But if you shall seek Yahweh in that place, now you have to go to Israel. And you see how these folks have us all twisted. Now we like, oh, we got to learn Hebrew. Oh, we got to learn such and such. We don't even know our heart at. We think our heart is in the language. Hell, didn't we speak the language when he threw our ass out of there?
Yep.
Right. Root word that one. Go ahead, brother.
If you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul, when you are in tribulations and all these things are come upon you, even in the latter days, if you turn to Yahweh your Elohim and shall be obedient unto his voice, for Yahweh your Elohim is a merciful Elohim. He will not forsake you, neither destroy you, nor forget the covenants of your father, which he sware unto you, unto them. Sorry.
All right, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20. But you know, the adversary is very slick. If you spend a whole lot of time doing one thing, it's something that you're not spending some time doing. And if he can get us off and doing a whole lot of other things, then he know he got us. I'll start at verse 1.
And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of Yahweh and sat before me. Then came the word of Yahweh unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Thus says the Adonai Yah, Are you come to inquire of me? As I live, said the Adonai Yah, I would not be inquired of by you.
When you ain't walk right, you know, Yahweh tell you, hey, keep my name out your mouth. So people, you know, say, well, you know, why Esaac saying stuff, you know, about, you know, the Christians now using Yahweh and Yahshua? Because you ain't using it right. You ain't been using his name. You ain't been saying his name. You ain't going to walk in the Sabbath, keep his name out your mouth. You been had your PhD. You ain't just now figured out this his name. So you want to play with this thing. That's like them folk who want to be, you know, them part-time gangsters. They want to, you know, learn some gang signs on the internet. That's all cool until you run up on one. Mm-hmm. You know, on Amazon they sell, you know, they'll sell you motorcycle vests, and you can get motorcycle vests with the patches. You better damn well be careful with patch on there. There's a video of a guy getting handled at the light. Head on the wrong patch. Oh, that's gang. You not about that. He got him on that light, snatched that whole vest off of him while he on his $50,000 bike. And he sat right there and took it off. I'm sorry, sir. And he got on up out of there. He earned that patch. Now, we paid the cost to say this name. Y'all all called us. Y'all ridiculed us. Y'all ridiculed our beards. Now every time I turn around, every NBA player got a hanging beard. They made fun of us when we did this. No, we earned this. I earned this badge. Go ahead, bro.
Will you judge them, Son of man? Will you judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers, and say unto them, thus says the Adonai Yah, in the day when I choose Israel, and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh your Elohim, in the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt into the land that I had spied out for them.
Wait a minute. He said, wait a minute. I got a land. I got these servants. I'm going to take you from there. I'm going to give you this bond. But you going to be my servants. But I took you from this. This should have made us appreciative. This is how we don't appreciate our beginnings. Once we get something, we forget where we came from. Once we get a few clothes and a few cars and a house, all of a sudden, we done forgot where we came from. We done forgot how we got there. We forgot how we got to this. You were already in prison. The entire nation was in prison. So part of your curse, when you don't listen to him, why you think we are the ones filling up the prison? No, that's part of the curse. I got you out of that. I got you out of that. I got you out of Egypt to serve me. What you do? Try to go back to Egypt. How many people you open the prison house and then they knock back on the bar? Can you let me back in? I miss my prison food. Go ahead.
Flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all the lands. Verse 7, then said I unto them, cast you away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh your Elohim. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that I should not be polluted before the heathens, among whom they were.
Now, hold on. If Yahweh has done all of this thing to bring the children of Israel out, and then the children of Israel operate however we want to, understand, you know that we have now brought shame to his name. So there is some connection when I say, keep my God name out your mouth. You ain't made no changes. No, we ain't perfect. I ain't saying we perfect. That is not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is people not even making an attempt to walk in this. And if you're not making an attempt to walk in this, keep his name out your mouth. Go ahead, brother.
In whose sight I made myself known unto them, and bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes, and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
All right, jump to verse 33.
As I live, said the Adonai Yah, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, I will rule over you.
I will rule over you. Go ahead.
And I will bring you out from the people.
I'm going to bring you out from the people. Go ahead.
I will gather you out from the countries wherein you were scattered.
Wait a minute, man. Ain't that number 3? Who done said, Yahweh said he was going to scatter us? So who are all these people that coming from the same place? I'm sorry, man. I got to keep asking the question because they keep saying something different. Yahweh said he was going to scatter Israel. Israel was not going to be in one place. So I'm telling you, this Juneteenth, for everybody who claimed to be Israel, they should have a Juneteenth. Go ahead.
With a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people. And there I will plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt.
So tell me where this happened again. So Israel came out of Germany and then they went into the wilderness and Yahweh pleaded with them like he pleaded with them when they came out of Egypt. Because somehow this right here had to happen before. This head says Yahweh will restore Israel. How in the hell they got there? Hey man, I'm just asking I'm reading the book. I ain't write it. Tell me how this happened. Tell me the place where America and Great Britain tell Yahweh, sit down, I got this. Tell me what chapter that is. Where Babylon helps Israel. Tell me what chapter that is. Because I'm just, oh man, it's going to be a page turner. I got to see this. Go ahead.
So will I plead with you, says the Adonai Yah, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Uh-oh, here we go with this bond again. I told you, he was like, he revoked the bond and then he put the bond back depending on how he act. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Go ahead.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. And I will bring them forward out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am Yahweh. As for you, O house of Israel, thus says the Adonai Yah, go you, serve you every one his idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute you my holy name no more with your gifts.
Pollute you my holy name no more. Translation. Keep my God name out your mouth. I'm sorry, I had to translate. Go ahead.
But pollute you my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, said the Adonai Yah, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruit of your oblations with all your holy things. And I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered.
Wait a minute, man. Come on, man. If this a lie, they all the prophets got together, even though they didn't live at the same time. Somehow they passed down the lie from generation to generation. Because somehow they keep saying that Israel was going to be scattered, that Israel was not going to be in the same place. How do we keep reading this over and over? Yet all these PhD having people telling me, those are the holy people. What book y'all read? Y'all need to spend less time dancing and shouting and more time reading, and it wouldn't be so easy for people to pull this wool over your eyes. How many times do we have to read this? And we still don't get it. Lets you know the power of imagery. When people can show something and those images captivate us. This is why you have a serious blockade on our videos. Oh, they make sure our videos don't get the kind of circulation that other videos get. I ain't worried about it. Believe you me, let me tell you something about how good our Elohim is. He'll wait till the last minute, and then one day, 2 million people will see one video. when he say it's time, it's going to be time. And I don't want it one day before. Go ahead.
You know, priest, what's crazy about this also is this about Yehuda? Is it about one tribe or is this about Israel? Because I ain't
Now, bro, you done asked the $1 million question now. Cause from what I heard, when the people even said, you know, what about the lost tribe? They said, no, we don't want to talk about no lost tribe. Yet Yahweh said this is the whole house of Israel. So not only has Yahweh lied, but Yahweh done told a partial lie because he has this available for just a few tribes and not the rest of Israel. Now, what kind of family man say, you know what, I'm just, you know what, I'm gonna feed I'm gonna feed the little boy and the dog. I'm just, now everybody else, I want y'all to watch us eat. Now, what the hell kind of family man is that? Tell me what kind of family man is that?
Jewish.
Hey, bro, I don't know what that is, bro. I don't know. What kind of family man says that I'm going to allow half of you to accept this or deal with this, but I'm not going to let the other part deal? Like, you know, but if you all are holy, how do you block out the other holy people? Do you make yourself more holy? How have they become less holy because you are more holy? How does that happen? If there are 12 tribes, then there should be 12. How many pearly gates is it?
One, if you ask.
Right there it is. There it is. It depends on who you ask me.
One, if
The
you
Christian got one big gate. But according to this, wait a minute, we got more than one gate. So then how do you throw off those other tribes and just say they're not accepted? At one point, they had Operation Exodus where they flew the Ethiopian Jews into Israel. How are they now being assaulted and given slur names, coochie, and all of this? Wait a minute. Wasn't those people flown there? Didn't you go get them? How are they now persecuted? Interesting. So basically, we just gonna feed 2 people in the house and everybody else gonna starve. Even the people who you went and got and brought to the house. You brought those people there. Go ahead.
I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherever you've been scattered. And I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. And you shall know that I am Yahweh when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for the which I have lifted up my hand to give it to you, or to your fathers.
So he says, you will know these things when I bring you into the land of Israel. So when he says I, did he mean Britain? Did he mean Babylon? Now, he's going to deal with Babylon. So it's interesting how he would say Babylon is going to do this, but then he's going to punish Babylon, but then Babylon is going to... Uncle Fru.
Yeah.
Uncle Fru here. See, some of this is just not adding up. And we just go from book to book to book. So how do people really deal with this so-called Juneteenth? How do they deal with it? You know, people are they're gonna give you some on the surface speeches the same way they do during that Black History Month. But they ain't gonna talk to nobody real. They're going to talk to the people who are bought and paid for, and they're going to say only the things that they want them to say. Because if we start going through and saying, no, I can show you Black history and it's in this Bible. Oh, that's going to be edited. When that airs, that ain't going to be on there. Go ahead.
You know, bro, when you said Juneteenth again, and we read the article and it says, you know, 2 years after the slaves were actually free, they would announce Juneteenth. You know, I hate to say this, but man, I ain't know nothing about no Juneteenth till about 2 years ago.
Hey,
And they say it's the oldest holiday or whatever.
hey, it wasn't nothing. We were given, you know, people have to keep pushing for it to be accepted because hey, I don't know when the schools start. Businesses start doing it. You know, my kids are gonna go to, you know, to their little boys and girls club or something, and they were like, "Oh no, y'all can't come today." When the hell y'all start celebrating this? When it happened? It ain't like I grew up and they were talking about no Juneteenth, you know. But what happened? They keep pushing and they push to get something recognized as a holiday. This was also the reason why they wanted to get as few representatives that actually represent us, so that it would take longer. I tell you what, why don't you count how many Robert E. Lee monuments there are? I bet you go dizzy trying to figure out how many streets named after Lee. And some of them be in the heart of the project. Right. Go ahead, brother. You got something?
Yes, sir. We were just talking about this before class started, and the point was brought up that it's funny that every time black folks start asking for money or some type of reparations, they give us a holiday. Like Dr. King, the only American civilian that has a holiday named after him. We was talking about it in the 80s or whenever that was. Here come Dr. King Day. We did it again a few years ago. Here come Juneteenth. So every time we ask for some money, say we ain't giving you no money. We're just gonna give you a day off work so y'all can barbecue.
That's your money right there. You want some money? Sit in your house, make some, cook some pork ribs. All right. Hope you die. Look here. Hey, that's all. That's all you need. But even if we go back to King, let me tell you something, man. King said, "Nah, we need a seat at a table. We need some money." Oh yeah, they had to go and get rid of him. See, they only play the parts of his speeches where it was like, oh, he was nonviolent. Oh, but he was pro-cash. He might have been anti-violence, but he was pro-cash. You know, so when he started talking about that, how is it that those speeches don't get played? They never play those speeches when he starts talking about commerce and them owning houses and them having their own businesses. How is it that those speeches, they're all recorded? How is it we don't hear those? Right. Go ahead, bro.
And there shall you remember your ways and all your doings, wherein you have been defiled, and you shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that you have committed.
All right, now I want to go to Acts chapter 1. Acts chapter 1. Because as we're talking about the children of Israel, and we read about the restoration and all of this, so during the Messiah's life, there is a question that is asked, and we're still sitting here wondering what's happening. All right? Now, you got to paint the picture, because what happens is people see during the time of the Messiah that there's just these people. You have the Jews, and then you have the Romans or the Greeks, whatever time it was, who is oppressing them at this time. All right? So then you have this happening, but we don't understand that there's a mix on many different groups of people who are called Jews. You have priests who are Edomite, you have priests who are Israelite, you have all of these things, and the Euro-Gentiles, the Romans, are using this to rule over us. Even when they do certain punishments, they are doing it according to our holy setup. All right? So Acts chapter 1 started at verse 1.
The former treaties have I made, O Theophilus, of all that Yahshua began both to do and teach, until the day in which he was taken up. After that, he, through the Holy Spirit, had given commandments unto the apostles whom he had chosen, to whom also he showed himself alive after his passion by many infallible proofs, being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of them things pertaining to the kingdom of Elohim. And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which, saith he, you have heard of me. For Johannes truly baptized with water, but you shall be baptized with the Holy Spirit not many days hence. When they therefore come together, they asked of him.
Now, they asked of him. All right, you done the unthinkable. All right. So now here's the $1 million question. Go ahead.
And nay, will you at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel?
Wait a minute. Israel is under tribute. Israel is not her own. He asked, will you at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel? To Israel. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father has put in his own power.
All right. So in the beginning of the New Testament, the kingdom does not belong to Israel. How did they get it back? How did they get it back without going through him? He says, I am the door. Whoever comes not through the door is a thief and a robber. I ask you, how did you get there? I'm only asking because the book says, if you do not come through the door, you are a thief and a robber. How did you get there if you didn't come through this door? So, this is probably the most unhappy Juneteenth teaching you have ever seen. But enjoy your Juneteenth. That's all we're going to do for tonight. Let's leave out with the prayer. Let's ask some real questions here when it comes, down to it. Instead of just celebrating whatever somebody give us, all right, I'm going to take that little bone that you threw at us, and then I'm going to go into this book, and I'm going to show you where that bone come from. And let's see if we can reason together out of this scripture. But that's all that we got time for tonight. Let's leave out with a prayer. We're going to rise and face the east. Abba Father, Most High Covenant Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Abba Father, we thank you for giving us some form of understanding of your word. We understand, Abba Father, that we know here a little and there a little, and we pray that you would continue to magnify the word inside of us that we may be able to grow. We also pray that you would give us a willing and obedient spirit, a heart of flesh, that we may be able to retain the things that you reveal unto us. We pray, Abba Father, that we may be able to walk in those things, that we may be able to fight the flesh that surrounds us and walk in the spirit that dwells in us. We pray, Abba Father, that we would be able to overcome that flesh that we are covered in. For we are but fleshly beings, but Abba Father, you have placed in our presence and ability, a part of your spirit that we have the ability to access here and there. And we thank you, Abba Father, for allowing us some little access to your spirit, because we understand and we know that you will pour that spirit out at some time upon us, that it may dwell upon us richly. We pray, Father, that we make you proud, that you would show us how to carry your holy and your righteous name, that we may magnify your culture, magnify your law. We ask these prayers not only for those that gather with us physically, but all of those who gather out of a pure heart to worship and serve you in peace and in spirit, all of those that gather by way of internet that we broadcast unto. In Yahshua HaMashiach's holy and divine name we pray. Amen and hallelujah.